Hello Booktube, it's the 31st of January and you know what that means. It's time for me to review books that I haven't even read yet. Hello, welcome to Gunpowder, Fiction and Plot. My name's Scott and this is my February TBR. If you're new here, I normally post videos with my wife Nelle. We discuss books that are dystopian, classics, historical fiction or literary fiction. Anyway, let's discuss the books that I'm going to read. I have a nice little list. So I'm hoping to finish this after I get off and make this video. But this is my current read, Mouse. If you don't know Mouse, it is a graphic novel about World War II, where all of the Jews are mice and all of the Nazis are cats, and it's a retelling of the author Art Spiegelman's. It is his father's story and he's retelling it as a graphic novel. Yeah, I hope to finish this today, but if I don't, I'll be reading it in February. The other book that I'm currently reading is an audiobook of the 13th book in the Wheel of Time series. This is the second last one of this epic long series. I'm pleased to say that it is finally starting to speed up and show signs of like resolving character arcs, and some character arcs you could argue are finished, which is absolutely amazing. Loose ends are tied up and more characters are dying than being introduced at this stage, which is just incredible considering how much of a slog the last few books were. So I'll be happy that this is back to being good again, and that we're actually getting close to, or I'm actually getting close to a finish in what is, I believe, the longest fantasy series ever published, which is crazy. There's two more books I want to mention. There's more than two more books I want to mention. There's two more books I want to mention before I talk about Readathons. The Death of Vivek by Akweake Emezi is the book for the Read Under the Bed Book Club. If you don't know about the Read Under the Bed Book Club, please have a look in the description. I will put some details there. This is a book club run by myself and my wife. Now we read short books that critique some aspect of society. I don't know anything about this book. I know it is written by Akweake Emezi. And all I can say about Akweake Emezi is Thomas Hardy has to look over his shoulder, because I've read two of their books before, Akweake's that is, and they've both been 5-star reads. At the point where I go 3 from 3 from Emezi, they have to be pretty close to my favourite author ever, because no author has ever got 3 5-stars from me, let alone 3 from 3. So Hardy better look out. He has some competition from this awesome writer. And then the next one I'm going to read is Scenes from a Clerical Life by George Eliot. I absolutely love George Eliot, and I just said about Thomas Hardy, but if you like Hardy, read Eliot, and if you like Eliot, read Hardy. They're not the same, but there is a similarity to their writing, which really means that you have to try them both out. They're both incredibly talented writers who have that same wonder how long I can like move my hand around in a circle and distract from the fact that I don't know the word that I'm trying to say. Yeah, they both write in a similar style. It's, yeah. Anyway, now there are two readathons that I probably should have announced at the start of the video, but, you know, organisation organisation. The Invisible Cities Readathon. This is a year-long readathon. I will post the details in the description below. If you do not know about the Invisible Cities Readathon, please look it up. It is amazing, and there is still time to join in. What happens is it is run by 7 incredible, not even book influencers. Some of them are booktubers, some of them are book bloggers, some of them are Instagrammers or bookstagrammers, all of these things. Every month there are 3 countries picked, and you read books from those countries, translated from those countries. So, and as well as that, you read a movie. That's the new way. That's how the cool kids consume their movies now. And you eat a dish from the country. So it's just a cool way of just getting a sample of a new culture. So anyway, the countries this month are Egypt, China, and Colombia. So the aim is translated works, so not non-translated. The Egyptian book I'm going to read is the Yacoubian building by Alaa Aswany. I don't know anything about this book, so we'll move on. The Chinese book I'm going to read is, I need that a bit closer, Chronicles of a Blood Merchant by Yacoubian. This has been on my TBR for a long time. This is just something that I have been dying to read forever, and what a good excuse. It's about a man who sells his blood in order to make ends meet. And what more do you need to know about that? That's excellent. How does that not sell itself more? More people should be reviewing it. Maybe not. I don't know. Now the last book I'm going to read is The Sounds of Things Falling by Juan, Gabriel, Vasquez. This is literally a book I know absolutely nothing about. So while I probably would have read this book this year anyway, and I had the Yacoubian building vaguely on my radar, it was, but I've never heard of this book before. I didn't know it exists. Essentially, I wanted an audiobook to help me get through the number of books I'm going to read this month, and I was looking for a translated Colombian audiobook that was literary fiction, that wasn't Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And therefore, I've picked this one because I found it, and that is all I know about this book. And I'll be looking forward to finding out if it's as good. I'll be looking forward to reading Colombian literature that isn't Gabriel Garcia Marquez, because while I'm sure he has a massive influence on Colombian literature, I believe that Garcia Marquez is definitely a acquired taste, and magical realism is definitely not everybody's thing. So it'll be nice to, maybe this book will be completely magical realism, and I love Garcia Marquez because I do. But anyway, that's why I wanted to read it. By the way, interesting thing I found out in reading my books last month is Gabriel Garcia Marquez played a interesting part in the Cuban revolution, buddying up with Fidel Castro, and then using his political influence to free political prisoners from Cuba and helping evacuate them. So, yay for authors being awesome. So that's it for the Invisible Cities Readathon. Now the last readathon I am doing is the TBR Breaker readathon. This is run by 2 amazing booktubers who I've only just discovered Books and Key and Jostner's Bookscapade. Books and Keys, Jostner's Bookscapade. Two excellent booktubers. Check them out. They're relatively new to me, but I'm really enjoying their content. So anyway, this is a readathon simply designed to read the damn books you already own. So I'm going to go through the prompts and tell you what I am reading. Non-fiction is the first prompt, and I'm going to read How to Be an Anti-Racist. This has been going around BookTube. Everybody and their dog has reviewed it. Not my dog, he's illiterate, but I'm sure your dogs are more talented. Yeah, this is a non-fiction book about racism, and it sounds very much like it's aimed at white people who want to be activists, allies, who want to be allies rather than black people who have a pretty good idea about the racism they suffer from every day. The second prompt in the TBR Breaker Readathon is a BIPOC author, and I have picked Under the Udala Tree. The author is a Nigerian lady from Port Harcourts. I've just learnt that this has a female-female romance in it, so looking forward to that. This is going to be a buddy read with both my wife Nelle and with Courtney Ferreter, who, if you're not subscribed to Courtney Ferreter now, just do yourself a favour and fix that. You will, there's no excuse. Just fix it now and we won't mention it. I don't know much about this other than it's a Nigerian book with a FF romance in it. So, but I am loving Nigerian literature at the moment. That has been one of the best things that I have discovered in the past 6 months, that there is such a wealth of talent of Nigerian authors out there. So many of them, and so many more huge books from Nigeria that I have left to read, like The Famished Road. I'm really looking forward to delving further in that. The next prompt for the TBR Breaker is a book in translation. I, of course, am already reading 3 books in translation, and this one was the only one on my TBR beforehand, so I could have picked a different book in translation off my TBR, but essentially I'm going to try and make this a little bit easier for myself. A genre you love. I think I really like literary fiction about broken things, essentially. That is what I like. And Burnt Sugar is literary fiction based in the city of Pune in India about a mother and daughter's broken relationship. That's really all I know about it. That sounds exactly up my alley, and I'm looking forward to this one. I'm a little bit trepidatious because this is one of Kieran from KT's books' favourites, and basically every time he rates something 5 stars, I rate it 1 and vice versa. So let's hope that this one is the magical silver bullet book. I'm sure it will be. It just sounds awesome. The next prompt is an LGBTQIA+, and you probably can't see that. That's a nice little short novel there, but that is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I don't know, maybe you need it in there. Last year I read Swimming in the Dark by Thomas Jabrowski, the Polish debut novel. I couldn't help but to feel like I missed so much of that novel because I hadn't read Giovanni's Room. So it's time to reverse that, really. I felt like that novel lent heavily on making references to Giovanni's Room, and if you do want to read Swimming in the Dark, please pick up Giovanni's Room. I really felt like I dropped that book 2-star ratings by not understanding the references it was making, you know? So I've only read one James Baldwin book in the past, and unlike basically all of BookTube, I didn't like it. I read Go Tell It to the Mountain, was not a fan of it. Really happy to say that I read it quite some time ago, and I'm wrong about it too. The last prompt is a classic, and I'm going to read Prism by Simon Taylor. Now, if you also want to read Prism by Simon Taylor, I would suggest there is an audiobook read by the author on YouTube, and Simon has kindly asked us to donate money to one of the charities that he likes. This is something that I will do once I get myself organised, essentially. So I'll post a link to the audiobook that he has read out. Obviously this is not a classic and I am being silly, but I definitely want to read his novel, considering that there is an audiobook that he has just made, or rather a series of YouTube videos. If you don't know who Simon is BookTube with Simon. I'll post a link in the description. Please check out his channel, which he does with his lovely wife. So it's BookTube with Simon and Amy. It's recently been upgraded to be twice as good as before because you've got Simon and Amy. So I'm sure it'll either be excellent or it'll be DNF'd. And Simon has basically said it's rubbish, go in with low expectations and you'll only be moderately disappointed. And I'm going to go in with high expectations. So actually for this prompt, I'm going to read The Trumpet Major by Thomas Hardy. Again, this is really just turning into the excuse for a shout out video. But again, if we continue to shout out our favourites, Jen, the librarian, is doing a Thomas Hardy thing. I think other people would call it a readathon, but essentially Jen is reading all the Hardy books in publication order and has invited everybody to read along with her. So we just did Return of the Native, which is one of my favourite Hardy books, and now we're up to The Trumpet Major, which is a Hardy book I've not read before, so I'll be looking forward to that. It's really all that's all the books I'm putting on my TBR. There was a plethora of books that I was hoping to slot in this month, but considering it's short, considering I'm deciding to roll things over, 14 is enough for a TBR.